The Buffalo Bills have made a move that has left many fans in a state of shock and confusion. On the surface, it seems controversial, maybe even unnecessary, but when you dig deeper, there's a logic that could be unfolding over time in sports, particularly in the NFL. Timing and perspective are everything. Decisions that appear questionable today can reveal themselves as brilliant in hindsight. Brandon Beane's latest decision is one of those moments. The firing of Sean McDermott as head coach has stirred strong reactions across Bills Mafia. Many loved McDermott and felt a deep connection to his leadership style and the way he transformed the team. But the question now becomes whether this transition is actually a strategic step forward for the organization. Brandon Beane is no stranger to bold moves, and while this one may have been executed in a way that feels abrupt or even jarring, the underlying reasoning appears to be focused on long-term success rather than immediate approval. McDermott built a winning culture in Buffalo, turning a team that had struggled for decades into consistent playoff contenders. He maximized the potential of Josh Allen, developed a strong defensive core, and brought a sense of stability to the organization. Yet, despite these accomplishments, the team hit a ceiling in the playoffs. The Bills have a championship-caliber roster, a quarterback of MVP caliber, and yet the Super Bowl remains just out of reach. This is where Beane's perspective comes into play. The move isn't about diminishing McDermott's contributions. It's about pushing the organization to the next level. History across the NFL provides a compelling pattern that aligns with this type of decision. Winning head coaches with a defensive or conservative approach often lay the foundation, but teams sometimes require an offensive-minded coach to cross the final threshold. Examples are plentiful. In Tampa Bay, Tony Dungy built a strong defensive foundation, but it wasn't until John Gruden came in with an offensive focus that the Buccaneers captured a Super Bowl. Similarly, in Denver, John Fox guided the Broncos to regular season dominance, but it was Gary Kubiak, with his offensive expertise, who finally led the team to a Super Bowl victory with Peyton Manning at quarterback. The Bills appear to be following a comparable path. McDermott is the defensive-minded architect, the builder of the structure. The next coach could be the offensive strategist who elevates the team into championship contention. Fans' immediate reactions have been emotional, and understandably so. McDermott's departure feels sudden and almost personal to many. He was beloved, respected, and had earned his place in Buffalo's recent history. The move highlights the tension between loyalty and strategic ambition, a delicate balance in professional sports. Brandon Beane now holds unprecedented control over the team, assuming a combined role of president and general manager. This consolidation of power gives him the freedom to shape the roster, dictate coaching decisions, and directly influence the trajectory of the organization. It's a level of authority that comes with immense responsibility, and every decision he makes will be scrutinized by both fans and analysts. Beyond the coaching change, there's also been a flurry of roster adjustments. The Bills made around 10 transactions recently, reflecting a proactive approach to team building. These moves, while less dramatic than the firing, are part of Beane's broader strategy to optimize the roster for both immediate success and sustained competitiveness. The focus is not just on winning now, but on constructing a team capable of competing at the highest level consistently. Each decision, from player acquisitions to coaching hires, feeds into this larger vision. The narrative surrounding McDermott's exit is also worth examining. Many players were reportedly caught off guard by the timing, and the press release contained errors that only amplified the perception of disorganization. This has fueled criticism of how the process was handled. Fans and insiders alike have highlighted that McDermott was not responsible for past missteps in roster management or salary cap issues. Those decisions fell on the front office, despite some shortcomings in specific areas. McDermott's leadership remained steady, and the team's progress under his guidance was undeniable. His departure, therefore, represents a shift not because of failure, but because the organization is seeking a different trajectory at the top and considering potential successors. Several names have emerged as possibilities, spanning both offensive and defensive philosophies. Offensive-minded candidates are attractive given the presence of Josh Allen, a quarterback capable of redefining the ceiling for the franchise. An aggressive, innovative offensive coach could unlock even greater potential from Allen and the surrounding talent, translating into high-scoring games and dominant performances. At the same time, defensive-minded coaches with a proven track record of scheming and player development remain in consideration. Each option carries risks and rewards. and the choice will ultimately signal the direction the Bills intend to take in the coming years. The emotional element for fans cannot be understated. Bills Mafia has shown tremendous support for McDermott, reflecting his ability to connect with players and the community. Social media reactions have highlighted frustration and disappointment, emphasizing that this was more than a professional decision. It was a deeply personal moment for many in the fanbase. The juxtaposition of respect for McDermott's accomplishments and anticipation for the future creates a complex atmosphere. Beane now faces the dual challenge of honoring past contributions while executing a vision that could finally elevate Buffalo to the Super Bowl stage. The firing also serves as a reminder that the NFL is ultimately a results-driven league. Regular season success alone is not enough. Teams with championship aspiration must consistently evolve and adapt, identifying the final missing pieces that will propel them past recurring obstacles. The move to replace McDermott, while controversial, reflects a commitment to this philosophy. It acknowledges the limitations of what has been achieved and expresses a willingness to take calculated risks in pursuit of ultimate success for the Bills. The question is no longer simply about winning games, it's about breaking through the playoff ceiling and achieving the championship that has eluded them for decades. Even as the dust settles, it is clear that the organization is entering a pivotal period. The decisions made now, from coaching hires to roster management, will define the team's trajectory for years to come. Beane's role is central in this process, and his approach will determine whether this bold strategy succeeds or falters under scrutiny. The narrative is not yet complete, and the next steps will provide further clarity. Fans are watching closely, analyzing each move, and speculating about the future direction of the franchise. At the heart of this transition is the intersection of strategy and timing. The firing of a highly successful coach may seem counterintuitive, but when viewed through the lens of long-term planning and championship ambition, it aligns with historical patterns observed throughout the league. Buffalo has the resources, talent, and leadership potential to make this a transformative moment. How they navigate the balance between honoring past achievements and pursuing a higher ceiling will define the legacy of both the team and the leadership steering it forward. As the Buffalo Bills move forward from Sean McDermott's departure, the conversation inevitably turns to who will lead the team next. The organization has positioned itself to pursue an offensive-minded coach, someone capable of taking Josh Allen's talents to an even higher level. Allen is a quarterback with rare physical tools, a strong arm, and the ability to read defenses with precision. But reaching championship-level performance consistently requires a head coach who can maximize offensive schemes, adapt in-game strategies, and construct an environment where the offense operates at peak efficiency. Beane's approach seems to be centered on identifying that missing piece, a coach who complements Allen's skill set while maintaining a championship-caliber culture. Potential candidates have sparked debates among fans, analysts, and insiders. Names like Clint Kubiak, Mike McDaniel, and Joe Brady have surfaced as offensive-minded options, each bringing a different style and philosophy. Clint Kubiak carries a legacy connected to his father, Gary Kubiak, who led Denver to a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. The parallels are clear, an elite quarterback needing a coach who can orchestrate an offense that not only scores, but dominates in critical moments. Mike McDaniel has gained recognition for his innovative schemes and ability to create dynamic playmaking opportunities for his quarterback. Joe Brady, though younger and less experienced as a head coach, has been instrumental in modernizing offensive approaches in multiple teams. Each candidate represents a calculated risk, but also an opportunity to push the team to an elite level. Defensive-minded candidates also remain in the conversation, albeit less prominently. Brian Flores, for example, offers the possibility of strengthening the Bills' defensive scheme while bringing a disciplined, aggressive mindset to the roster. His ability to develop pressure packages, utilize blitzes effectively, and adapt defensive strategies to opponent tendencies makes him an intriguing option. While the emphasis appears to lean toward offensive innovation, having a candidate who can blend defensive expertise with leadership skills remains valuable. The ideal scenario may involve balancing both approaches, ensuring that Josh Allen is supported by a strong offensive strategy while maintaining defensive solidity that can withstand playoff pressure. One of the more complex aspects of this transition is the internal dynamic of the team. Players who were close to McDermott have expressed frustration and disappointment publicly, highlighting the emotional impact of the decision. Taron Johnson's reactions, as well as the responses from several others within the locker room, underscore the tension between organizational strategy and personal loyalty. Managing these relationships will be critical for the incoming coach, as buy-in from players can determine how smoothly the team adapts to a new system. A head coach not only brings schemes and strategies, but also sets the tone for culture, accountability, and cohesion. The first few months under new leadership will be pivotal in establishing trust and ensuring that the team remains united in pursuit of the ultimate goal. Roster management also plays a significant role in this equation. Beane's recent moves indicate a willingness to make bold decisions to improve the team's competitive edge, adding talent at key positions. Particularly offensive weapons to support Josh Allen is a priority. Wide receivers, offensive linemen, and dynamic playmakers are critical for sustaining high-scoring output and ensuring the quarterback can operate efficiently on the defensive side. Creating a pass rush and strengthening the secondary will remain essential, as playoff games often hinge on the ability to pressure elite quarterbacks while minimizing big plays. Balancing these needs requires a coach who can collaborate closely with the front office, align on philosophy, and execute a vision without disruption. The timing of these changes is also crucial, with the team preparing for another season in a new stadium. Expectations are higher than ever. Fans anticipate a team capable of competing for the Super Bowl immediately, and the front office must navigate these pressures while making long-term strategic decisions. Beane's consolidation of power as president and general manager provides him with the ability to steer the organization decisively, but it also increases scrutiny. Every hire, trade, or draft pick will be analyzed through the lens of whether it accelerates Buffalo toward the championship or prolongs the pursuit. This environment amplifies the stakes and places added importance on selecting the right head coach. Josh Allen's development remains central to these decisions. He has already proven to be a transformative quarterback, but reaching sustained elite performance requires the right support system. Offensive schemes that exploit his strengths, combined with versatile skill players who can execute high-level concepts, will determine the ceiling of his career. Beane's strategy seems focused on aligning coaching, roster talent, and organizational vision around one cohesive goal, ensuring the Bills can compete at the highest level and break the pattern of playoff disappointment. The emphasis is not merely on winning games, but on achieving dominance throughout the season and converting that into postseason success. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. What began as an offhand reaction has quickly grown into one of the most talked about whispers around the league. NIX, usually measured with his words, reportedly left observers stunned after comments interpreted by many as a clear jab at the Bills. The quarterback did not name names in a confrontational way, but the subtext was strong enough to ignite speculation across locker rooms and front offices. According to people who were present, NIX spoke with unusual bluntness when asked about defenses he has studied closely. He referenced tendencies, predictability, and what he called comfortable habits that elite teams sometimes fall into, while he avoided direct accusations. The description matched Buffalo closely enough that the connection felt impossible to ignore. The tone was not boastful, but critical, suggesting that reputation can sometimes mask vulnerabilities. What surprised insiders most was not the analysis itself, but the timing and confidence behind it. NIX has built a reputation as a student of the game, someone who dissects film obsessively. Still, openly questioning a franchise long viewed as disciplined and physical is a bold move for a young quarterback still carving out his place in the league's hierarchy. Some around him believe the remarks were calculated, a way to project leadership and show he is no longer content with polite cliches. Others see it differently. To them, this was frustration leaking through, the kind that comes from believing opportunities were left on the field. The Bills, often praised for their structure and adaptability, suddenly found themselves framed as a team that can be read if you are patient enough. Whether that perception is fair or not is almost beside the point. The real story is that NIX was willing to say it out loud. Around the league, executives and players alike are now wondering if this was a moment of honesty or the opening salvo in a psychological chess match. If nothing else, NIX has added an unexpected edge to a narrative that was once predictable, reminding everyone that words, even carefully chosen ones, can travel fast and linger. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.